Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Filament Bros video. Today, I'll be showing you all the extra steps that you should probably do before submitting a form, getting ready to print. And to do that, we just have to make sure that everything is all right. So this is a shrunken down version of a model from one of our previous videos. I wanted to use it just because I think it's simply just a better model to show you guys. So basically we have this model already broken into parts and groups. This can be done, via any software, SketchUp, Rhino, whatever it is. This is kind of the best way that I would suggest doing it. I think it's simpler. I think it makes it super easy. It's not very complicated from here on out. So basically what we're gonna do is I have these 3 plates where these are the sizes of the actual Bambu Labs plate that I personally have. If you have a printer at home, obviously, you could have a different size. What I like to do though, before I do print, is to put everything in millimeters. So we can just take our tape measure out here, bang, just like that. That'll give us the amount of millimeters that we have in this file. Now, usually what I like to do is split things up already in SketchUp, or of course, Rhino, whatever you're using. Before in Bambu, I think it just makes it easier. What I do like to do, however, is to not slice it if you need it to make a section in SketchUp. I will usually leave that to Bambu. So say, for example, we wanted to slice it right here, this spot right here, and for it to go through the site, I think the easiest way to do this is how I'm going to show y'all right now. So I'm going to match this up with the middle of the plate right here. Perfect. From here, I'm going to drag each part only on this red line on this axis. That way we're able to kind of split it in the way that I'm going to show you guys later on. Then we're going to grab this, and we're going to move it all over. Again, not editing the height. But now that I noticed something, I'm going to go back on that. So I'm going to click this and this, and that way we're going to move it so that the whole thing fits in. Perfect. This. Move it. Bang, just like that. I'm gonna make sure that it's kind of there. That way we can still see if it'll fit. Perfect. Of course, once again, I've forgotten to move something with it because of the errors that we've seen with it. So just to make sure that that has a nice level of thickness. From there, we say this plane means nothing. You can just delete that, take the erase tool, boom, 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 it's done. Perfect. This, same thing. Just gonna move it. We're gonna slide it in right about here. Doesn't necessarily matter where. Perfect. These two, we're just gonna move it. I'm just gonna move it to this next one, just so I can show you guys. Okay, perfect. So now when we look down at it, you can see that everything clearly fits in these squares that we have. It should be easy. Sometimes you can move things around to make it easier, rotate it, and obviously in Bambu. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. So from here, usually I think it's better to just always delete these faces. I think that just makes it easier when exporting, and also to make sure that you have no person or statue or whatever you want to call it that's standing right here. That usually tends to bug out the system just because it's so large and you want this to be in your millimeters. So from here, we're going to do File, Export, and then you're going to click 3D Model, and then I'm going to show you guys in Bambu how that translates. Alrighty, so everybody, welcome back. So I've imported the STL file. From here, you can just do that by clicking Add or Control I. I usually just click the Add button. You select your STL, and then it pops over all the way over here to add. Obviously, this is going to be in a more detailed Bambu video. You can just add extra layers like this. But what I do want to show you guys is, for example, if you were to come to this angle, you would basically still see this facade of the house correctly. Now, what I like to do is keep it like this. Hit this. Where is it? Yep. Split. Perfect. Take this red one. Nope. This red one, lock it. Then I like to line it up of where I want it to split. So say I want to split it, right here. There you go. Perform cut. Yes. And there you go. Now it's done. Okay, so something that we do want to make sure of, always select it all. this has any problems. No, it does not. So we're gonna do split into objects. Perfect. And this we're gonna split into object. And then so we're basically gonna line it back up as to how it was before. Easiest way to put this back on the ground is gonna be this auto button. It's gonna be the simplest way to do it. And from there, you can simply make sure that it all fits. Perfect. Now this, like I talked about before, whoops. This, like I talked about before, you can click the auto and it'll print it normally how it would best print without using max filament. Of course, we're missing some. Why is it doing that? Of course, if this is a problem, you can always select it all and then merge. It's always useful. Get it back over here, auto it. Interesting. If it does auto like this, what I do like to do is to sort it so that both of these faces, right? So this face is going to have the same texture as this one. Obviously the printer builds layer by layer. So this wall is going to be built 1, 2, and 3, and 4, while this one is going to be built all at once. So what I do like to do is if I do need to change it, where is it? Perfect lay on face, I'll click it like that and then there you go. So you can have almost like a similar resemblance on this. Of course, this one right here, auto lay down. Where is it? Perfect. So again, I noticed that these two things are detached. That usually happens when it's split and when it's in different groups in SketchUp. You can always merge, perfect. Put it right here, auto. Makes it easy. And again, same thing. So this is gonna be the easiest way that it's gonna print. Again, same thing with this. Obviously, I mean, perfect merge, simple stuff. It's as soon as you start really meddling with this, it's going to be super easy for you to manage. And then again, this auto button. Interesting. Okay, so it doesn't think that it's going to need supports here, but what again I do suggest is for you to make sure that it is stable on one side. So what I like to do is make it like this so that it's always going to be printing the same shape instead of it having to change. It's usually the best option. From here, same thing again. That way when you line it up, it's always going to print on the same surface. And then perfect, so here we go. If you ever need to delete an extra plate, you can always hit this X button. There you go, so this is your print. You can save this right here using this button. It'll save it as an STL and then you can send it to us as an STL to print. It'll immediately pop up looking like this. So say for example, you wanted to print, you know, this bridge, this tunnel rather, a very certain and specific way. You could say that in the notes and then you can also demonstrate it here. If for example, there was a problem with any formatting issue, of course we'd contact you, but if usually this is going to be the easiest way that we can see it because we can see it and then immediately we know that it's good and we'll send it immediately. We don't have to contact you guys saying that there's an issue. It usually speeds up the process, makes it faster. And then from there also, something that you can do if you really need the option is say you only needed to print one half of the house. Say you only needed like this piece, and this piece. You could always do that. You could always just print one plate and then send this to us in a first phase and then send the second parts to us in a second phase. You can also, you know, rearrange it so that the first phase is all in one thing. That way when it's done, say for example you wanted this 1 week and then another week you didn't really need this one, this is more of a rush order, but the second one wasn't, we could try to get this order to you before this one. You can always specify that I want plate 1 printed before plate 2. That just helps us out. Any information that you guys can give us really helps us out. And ideally, this is how easy it is to really be able to manipulate what you want to print. This is in Bambu Studio. It's super simple. You can download it yourself. You don't even need a printer. Once you do get a printer, depending on what printer you want to have, you can always, resort back to this, like set up the studio. You can always make shapes, make different things, change it, rotate it, do whatever you want. And then from there, again, you save it as something and then you open it in another studio. So you can just, keep on going, cycling back and forth if you really need to, if you feel very comfortable with this. And that's how I would say. This is just a regular preset. So this is just this one here, slice plate, and then, slice all, perfect. And then so it'll give you the amount. Obviously this is like a fake model. You can change the settings, of course, to your own preference. We have our own. And then of course you can see that there are no problems with this, no problems with that, zero tree supports really needed. And then that allows for you to calculate, how much time, how many grams it's actually going to take. And so usually it's the most ideal way. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this clears up some misconceptions. Hope this helps. I would always suggest, downloading this type of studio or another studio, whichever you prefer, whichever you're more comfortable with, just to make sure that all your printing processes go smoothly. This type of, verification before we get the actual print allows you also to see, what problems there are. Say there was a missing face on this piece and it, prints it as a shell. You're able to see that, go back into SketchUp right here and then fix it yourself. And then, revert back to Bambu Studio and see how that evolves. And that's usually just the best case scenario for everybody involved. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful rest of y'all's day. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.